morning, SOCOM. My name is Mark McElroy, and welcome to another edition of Physical Therapy with SOCOM. So, what are we bringing to you today? Foam rolling. Why, when, how? Different types of foam rolling. So why do we foam roll? Prevent injuries, recover faster, yes. Break up adhesions between muscle and fascia, those knots. Okay, there's no real evidence, but it's good. Improve mobility and flexibility. Does great jobs there. You need to look for those areas of stiffness that move on. And then asymmetry, meaning one side doesn't move as well as the other. You know, reaching up, rolling, okay? Areas of pain, that aren't supposed to be there. Improve blood flow and bringing vital nutrients into those muscles is what we're really looking at, okay? What to avoid? Well, what do we want to avoid? We want to avoid going too fast through these motions. We want to avoid, staying on an area of pain going, oh, ow, ow, ow. Not good, all right? And then we'll talk about different areas. We're going to work from the foot up, okay? And then we're going to also talk about how you can advance some of this foam rolling. Let's start off here. What are the different types of rollers? So we have the typical foam rolling. Now, this can be just a high density foam, not like this one, because why? You can see that it looks a little bit different. Lights on the end, what happens? It vibrates. Now, I really think the vibrating roller, adds a totally different dimension to foam rolling. We first started off back before using a stick, that kind of bent a little bit, and you can push and push and push, and you go, oh, right there, right there, right there. Okay, and we start to push, kind of blood, increasing that blood flow, working, and you're looking for tender areas, and you're like, oh, gotta move this, gotta move this, gotta move this. And it was kind of a self-massage thing. We've even moved on to different things, the wheel, all right, and you wind up laying down on it, and you create such a tension and force. When we throw my flip-flops off, we wind up laying over top of it and spreading out, rolling back and forth. Now there's different types of rolling, right? So I'm going to stay away from the stick. Everybody's kind of seen this, but you can do a lot of things with this. I may hit back at it at the end. But we're going to go straight to this foam roller. So I'm not going to turn on the vibrating part because you'll have problems hearing it. And once again, I'll kind of go back into, what are we looking for whenever we do that. So when do we foam roll? How about the beginning of an exercise program? Perfect, right? So how long in the beginning of an exercise program? Well, we want to do it for about, 3 to 5 minutes. We're not trying to, really roll out all these areas and everything else like that. Let's say we're going to do a lower body program. That we're going to do squats today. We got our bar set up and we're going, okay, well, how do I get ready to turn around and do my squats? I have hip flexors, I have glutes, hamstrings, quads, and some down at the calves. So that's what we need to focus in on when we roll out. So let's start with a calf. And I'll do it in a couple different formats, so that way you can see. The big part whenever we're doing the calf is we want to pull that foot back towards us. Now we have to think about the gastrocs or the calf muscle. So rolling back and forth is nice, but we want to kind of rotate and angle that foot in about 30 degrees, move back and forth over it, give it a good, 10 rounds there, and then 10 times on the outside. Turn your foot on the outside. All right, so give me good 10 bouts back and forth. Now my butt's up off. I'm using my hands a lot to push. All right. So let's move further up on this posterior chain. Let's hit the hamstrings. Now we got to think about that too, because we have to think about the anatomy of how the hamstrings. We have one that attaches to the outside of the knee, two that attach to the inside of the knee, and all three of them attach up to the near. So once again, I like to turn around, turn that foot about 15 degrees, start on the inside of the knee, roll all the way up to your butt. Back and forth. 10 times there. rotate that foot out. But when you're coming in, rotate that foot back in. Come back out, rotate back in, out, in. Nice and easy. Okay, about 10 times. Once again, this is our pre-workout, okay? 10 times shouldn't take you more than about 10 seconds when we're rolling out, getting ready. Now, let's hit those glutes. How do we hit those glutes? I want you to sit on that roller. I want you to turn your body so that way you're rotated on there. Now, you can roll back and forth nice and easy here. Now, if we want to, kind of highlight it a little bit more, I want you to cross that leg, get back and forth. Yes. Now, this is the part when we talk about how to advance. I'm here. I find a spot that doesn't feel that great. I want you to kind of just butterfly that back and forth. Move it back and forth, back and forth. Great, okay? Roll again. Do a couple different rolls. See if you hit that spot just right. You're increasing blood flow. You're changing the neuromuscular activity inside that muscle. Helping it warm up. So, hip flexor. A little bit difficult. Come down on your elbows. Get right over top. Once again, I'm rolling to about a 15 to 20 degree angle. I got my other foot propped up. I'm rolling right over that hip flexor. Okay? Now, let's talk about the infamous IT band. People love to roll this, but then all of a sudden they're in tons of pain with the IT band. It's not one of my favorite things because people lay all the way on their side and then they're rolling back and forth over their side. You need to angle just about 15 degrees. Put that other foot in front, catch in front of the part of that hip, back and forth, back and forth. Good. Now while we're in that position, we can go ahead and come to our elbows again, and we go, let's hit that quad. Now a lot of people like to kind of go back and forth over the quad. I like to bend that knee. Put that put that quad a little bit on stretch, then roll back and forth. Back and forth. Good. Once again, all the way up to the front part of the hip, all the way down to the knee. Good. So we focus in on quads, hips, IT band, hamstrings, calves. We kind of covered the whole lower part of the body, even the glutes. Low back. People have a tendency to lay flat on this low back. I want you once again, angle to about 15 degrees, and you're going to roll only about 5 to 6 inches up in here. Okay? There we go on that side. Roll about 10 times. Catch the other side. Good. Now thoracic. We like to roll back and forth. And what we're doing is just massaging that area, increasing that blood flow through the spine. Reach out, back and forth. You can windshield wiper your arms a little bit. All right? If we're trying to improve mobility, we have a lot of people with a tight thoracic spine. So I want you to do this. Right at the base of where your scapula is, your shoulder blades, I want you to put this foam roller right there. All right? Right there. Butt stays down. Hand comes up to the top. And then I want you to reach back as far back as you can. Start with cradling your head. If you're okay there, then you can reach back with your arms. Lean back. Come back forward. Lean back. I want you to take that rusty door hinge and start working it back and forth. Now you're going to catch more than one joint at a time. Good. Come all the way to the top part of that shoulder blade. Don't come higher than that. Same thing. Cradle your head first. Lean back. Lightly pull up. Chin tucks to your chest. Lean back. Tuck your chin to your chest. You can reach back with your head. Good. Come back. Reach all the way forward. We're not coming off the roller. We stay with our body weight on the roller. All right? Now, you can put that roller lengthwise on your spine, and we can roll out like so. You can move over to one side of it, and then reach out, up and across, there, back and forth, and you're catching part of that middle trap, those rhomboids, and you're pinning it. So what we're trying to do whenever we do what's called an active release therapy, I come up here, I catch those lats, and then I go up and down, up and down. This is that active release therapy. Instead of just rolling, you find a spot and you go, up and down, up and down, up and down. Elongate, shorten the muscle. By doing that, it's like taking a rubber band, you're pulling it, but now you're pushing in that rubber band. So think of your muscle and tendons that go from one end to the other, and you're taking that and you're moving it back and forth, but at this point you're holding it there, and you're moving the muscle back and forth over that spot. So if you have different things, knots, neural tension inside there, and you start to move it back and forth over top of it, it helps release tension. And that's why we like to go, it takes down on that myofascial junction that builds up and it gets sticky when it's holding onto the muscle, but we create this friction force and we can break it free. You're increasing blood flow. There's not really been any evidence. They don't do different studies where they're taking muscle out and doing it, but still, it feels good to an extent, right? You get on a spot and you're like, and it's a sharp shooting pain. I want you to stop, okay? A lot of times what you'll get is you'll get a nerve that comes out and you're pushing right on a nerve. Not a good thing for you. As you push on that nerve, it's going to excite that muscle and it's going to tighten up more. So you're doing the opposite of what you really need to do. We want to relax these muscles, wake them up, get them ready to work on our pre-workout. Now, at the end of the session, we want to turn around and be able to relax. So we do this a little bit slower. We do it a little bit longer. I tell you, spend 10 minutes, rolling out afterwards. I know. Now I got 5 minutes ahead, 10 minutes afterwards. That's 15 minutes of my 1 hour workout. Okay, you have to take care of your tissues. If you don't, then you're just going to keep building strength on dysfunction. And we don't want to do that. So once again, to get a little bit more advanced on it, we can do things when you start to have areas of pain using different things like lacrosse balls, or tennis balls are okay, but lacrosse ball doesn't give. And so when we get over certain tissues, we can really get after it. I only really use the lacrosse ball on 3 different areas, and we start looking at that shoulder, okay? So if I'm looking at the posterior part of the shoulder, I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to be on the scapula, just on the inside of the scapula too. Put that lacrosse ball on the floor. I get my shoulder, dig right down over top of it, and then I rotate my arm at a 90 back and forth. If you start to feel a popping, slow down. Once again, speed is not your friend, okay? Then I move it over a little bit. I put it on my scapula, just on the inside of that soft tissue, and then I'm going to reach across my body. Nice big reaches, okay? So we're stretching that out. Now you can kind of do this, that same kind of stretch with a roller. I'm putting that roller here. I'm going to drive that arm through. So we're working on thoracic mobility. Drive that arm through. Another way of looking at it, I'm here. I'm going to drive through, come back up, stay in a nice position here, drive through. So, just kind of recap this once again. There's many different types of rollers, anywhere from $20 all the way up to a vibrating roller, which I prefer the vibrating roller. It's got 3 different speeds. You can buy it cheap. You can get one for about $79 all the way up to $179. They help with recovery, increasing blood flow, and changing some of that neuromuscular activity that happens, especially after a good workout. The crossballs are important, or we can go to a trusty stick where we're using it. The problem is, like, if I'm trying to work the back, you can't work it with a stick very well. If I'm working my arms a lot to get this back and forth. Now I can get quads, I can get hamstrings, and I can get calves. I like to do the windshield wiper part where I hold one end still and then I move the other side up and down. You can also focus on that anterior tib a little bit too. But as we've been talking, rolling out, very important nowadays, as far as increasing blood flow and flexibility and mobility toward the joints and the tissues. You're looking for several different things. Areas of pain, be gentle on them, but start working them. Areas of stiffness, where joints don't feel like they want to work very well, we need to really start moving those joints to increase mobility. Then we increase blood flow through those areas. The other thing is look for that asymmetry. If I'm on my lap, and it's an easy picture here. I'm here and I can't hardly raise this arm up, but then on the other side, I can get all the way up and down. That lat moves very well on that side. So you need to start looking for asymmetrical motions, meaning one side doesn't move as well as the other. So you can start working a little bit more on those. So once again, we go over mobility using a foam roller. If you have any questions or whatnot, hit us up. Mark McElroy or Lindsay Wright, your physical therapist with SOCOM. I'll be coming to you next week with another one. But I'm also going to bring out some little tidbit information things, starting next week, where you get to see something almost every day. All right? Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.